and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order, all things work in divine order, all things work in divine order. Again, salute, salute. Peace and power to the people that struggle. I thank the universal truth and absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power. Salute, salute. Welcome to Saturday Night Book Club. Peace and power to all those who are in the building. Peace and power to the mods. Let us again thank the mods for maintaining our order in book club. Peace, Tierra. Coco, what's good? Brown girl, what's good? Nasir, salute, salute. Ryan is in the spotty spot. Tisha, rap with your boy. As everybody comes in, again, greet them. Give the tribe our love. And let us educate one another tonight. Wanted to go on earlier, but I was actually doing a little research for a build that I will be giving y'all on this exact YouTube channel later on in the week. I may be able to get to it tonight, I don't know. But I want to break down a specific album from the late 1980s to actually see just how conscious and woke this particular rap group was. And if they were that woke at that time, what has happened, you know? So, again, I'm doing a little research and I'm really still waiting for my daughter to arrive. So I'm a little triggered, so I'm gonna keep my composure, you know. As you know, I run a very, very, very tight ship. And it doesn't matter how old you are. When that sun is down, everybody know where they're supposed to be. You know? Too much going on. Just too much. So let's get this book club kicked off. Let's get it kicked off. Uh-oh. You know? As everyone knows, right? We are on the second book of our Saturday Night Book Club, The Wretched of the Earth by Fanon. Yes, Fanon. Hold on. Oh, yeah. And as we shared last week, that there is a rather large jump from the initial book in which we spoke on Assata Shakur, which is a biography which was deep once we peeled back some of the layers. But when we get into Wretch, we get into specific strategies, we get into analysis from different points of the liberation process and the individuals on both sides, the colonized, the colonizer, the soldiers, and those citizens. So we're going to get in depth. And as we go deep and as we dialogue, as always, no question should go unanswered, and we're going to pull each other's coat. Again, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for those who have an ego, especially when it comes to anyone checking their intelligence, checking their position on specific things. This is not the space for you. This is a learning environment, and we come to get busy. We know how serious the times are. So, as we ride, buckle up and enjoy it. All right? We are on what page? See what my moderators and how many of you finished the preface. We're on concerning violence. All right? And I believe we stopped at what? Page 37. Right? Page 37. Second paragraph. That's right, Ryan. All right? Let's get busy. Everybody have your thinking caps on. Breathe deep. Oh yeah, let's get busy. The naked truth of decolonization evokes for us the searing bullets and blood-stained knives which emanate from it. From if the last shall be first, this will only come to pass after a murderous and decisive struggle between the two protagonists. That affirmed intention to place the last at the head of things and to make them climb at a pace too quickly, some say, the well-known steps which characterize an organized society can only triumph if we use all means to turn the scale, including, of course, that of violence. Now, when we take, and again, this text is extensive, and as we read and we dialogue and we sit on specific sentences, paragraphs, and phrases completion, we have to open our minds and truly get a firm understanding of what he is saying. That has become the biggest question for melanated folks on this part of the planet. Whether or not violence is used to attain our goal. Now, this has to be at the very onset of people's struggle, because it goes deep into the fiber of each individual, whether or not we use violence as a strategy, as a tool through the process. You have to know. You have to be firm in that as an individual and as a group. If not, you will stumble all the way through. That is what happened in the recent events that we saw on January 6th with ironically, with our oppressors, right? They were not informed. They were not organized. They did not have their leadership in tune with the plan, whether or not they should exercise that tool to get them the desired results. And as we watch the hearings, that is evident. That is evident. Someone or some group dropped the ball, and now you see they are suffering because of that. It has happened with us. It has always stagnated us. The discussion between the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the great Minister Malcolm X were always on opposite sides when it came to that, until the very end, when both were leaning towards each other and creating a specific balance. It was a stumbling block even in the Black Panther Party for self-defense. There will always be a pause, a hesitation in how people move if that question isn't answered from the very beginning. You have to make it clear. Once it's made clear, then people can decide how far they are willing to extend themselves within and around certain groups. You have to make that understanding understood. Have to. You understand? So let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. Because as many of our other comrades from Latin nations say, we have no time for romanticism. People's struggle is not rhetorical and it is not romanticized. There's some very concrete issues that arise and very concrete circumstances and consequences that arise when you are not steadfast and sure in your movements. It is not a video game, so you have to be clear. All right? You do not turn any society, however primitive it may be, upside down with such a program if you have not decided from the very beginning, that is to say from the actual formulation of that program, to overcome all the obstacles that you will come across in so doing. The native who decides to put the program into practice and to become its moving force is ready for violence at all times. From birth, it is clear to him that this narrow world, strewn with prohibitions, can only be called in question by absolute violence. Now, no one understands violence more than the oppressed class. No one understands violence more than the impoverished class. No one understands it the way we understand it. Again, from birth, it is clear. And every aspect of this society which governs us is violent. There is violence in every aspect of our life here. Any institution in which we, our essence, the space and time that physically is made up, once we step into it, there is immediately an acceptance that violence is somewhere lurking, ready, and most willing to give us a taste, whether it's their educational system, whether it's their financial system, whether it's our living conditions, the system of housing, whether it's their medical system. Every aspect of our lives, there is an understanding, there is a subconscious understanding and knowledge that if we are not careful, violence will rear its ugly head up and touch us. So just to live, we are already in a nervous space. The only sense of calm that we ever are allowed to have is one in which we are able to become aware and conscious of our conditions and the strength that we have to know that we can combat it. That is the only thing that allows us to be calm enough to galvanize a tribe, to hold book clubs, to dialogue, to step out, and at certain times enjoy any aspects of our life. That is the only thing that calms us down enough to have a long-standing life. That is it. Once you become conscious, once you become aware and woke to understand exactly where you are, you begin to make adjustments. At that point is when you can say, all right, I know what I must do. Other than that, those who are not conscious, the ones we want to call sheeple, the ones we want to call sleep, the ones who we look at as continuously ignorant, they feel violence. They feel it. It stings them. And because it stings them, they become reactionary and not liberators of themselves and others, revolutionary of themselves and others. They become reactionary. And that's what we in this tribe acknowledge as people who are not woke. People who live without purpose. That's very dangerous. At any given time, you become a casualty of your conditions. So we have to acknowledge that. When you acknowledge the violence, when you acknowledge who holds violence, when you acknowledge who can pass out this violence, then you are able to protect yourself. So we who are woke should never be fearful. We are always on alert. We are always cautious. You understand? So you have to acknowledge it. The colonial world is a world divided into compartments, right? We just spoke on it. It is probably unnecessary to recall the existence of native quarters and European quarters, of schools for natives and schools for Europeans. In the same way, we need not recall apartheid in South Africa. Yet, if we examine closely this system of compartments, we will at least be able to reveal the lines of force it implies. This approach to the colonial world, its ordering, and its geographical layout will allow us to mark out the lines on which a decolonized society will be reorganized. So if you're sitting in a space and you have been duped to believe that you are actually part of the colonizers, right? When we like to say, quote unquote, acting white. The whiteness that you have adopted to act is a white mentality, not necessarily, right? The visual, not actually the inner things, characteristics that make up white. Understand? But the mindset. So there's an entire cleansing that has to take place from the ground up. And those who are not able to, because they are blinded, because they are ignorant, or because they are determined, right, to sit in that mental space, we know what needs to be done. Because you are not part of this. You live in it, amongst it, around it, underneath it, right? But you are not in part of it. You're just not. You being used. You're a tool, right? When you are cultivating the land, right? The hoe, the shovel. These things are not part of the land. They're tools. They can go in it, they can go around it, they can smear it, they can spread it, they can toss it. But they are not of it. So you are never of the colonial world. You don't understand the language. You just don't. Salute to the yard. The colonial world is a world cut in two. The dividing line, the frontiers, are shown by barracks and police stations. In the colonies, it is the policeman and the soldier who are the official. Instituted go-betweens, the spokesman of the settler and his rule of oppression. Hold on. All right? Gotta make a marker. In capitalist societies, the educational system, whether lay or clerical, the structure of moral reflexes handed down from father to son, the exemplary honesty of workers who are given a medal after 50 years of good and loyal service, and the affection which springs from harmonious relations and good behavior. All these aesthetic expressions and respect for the established order serve to create around the exploited person an atmosphere of submission and of inhibition, which lightens the task of policing considerably. I'm going to stop right there and want you to imagine, picture, God damn it, you on cell phones, you know what 3D imaging look, you know what filters. I want you to filter in your mind what was just said. That the police and the policing has been lightened to the degree of which they no longer have to do the dirty work of the settler, of the oppressor, of the king, Uber CEO boss type shit, because the people who believe that they are part of it, the worker for 50 years. This educational system, the schooling, who have taken on the belief, the mentality of whiteness, is doing the work. Now, today, we have a space in which those who have felt the sting the most, the impoverished, the formerly incarcerated, the gang, the MC, the hip hop rapper, is doing the work of the oppressor by not only policing through ratting and snitching, but by putting out the messages of self-hate, over sexualization, and separation between man and woman, elder and youth. In real time. Put that picture in your head so you know who your enemy is. In the capitalist countries, a multitude of moral teachers, counselors, and bewilderers separate the exploited from those in power. Bewilderers, right, are those fake-ass conscious woke folk that you see on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the fearmongers. These are the bewilderers because all they do is create fear, separation, and a lack of confidence in the self needed by each liberator on this path. All right? When they give you those mixed messages. So yeah, when you question why I shit on them, the Tariqs, the Umars, the pills, and all that other weird shit, I'm giving it to you. I'm from a very, very different school of thought and work. Let me read that again. In the capitalist countries, a multitude of morale teachers, counselors, and bewilderers separate the exploited, from those in power. So if I'm continuously focusing on you and what you're saying and fawning over you, and you never point me in the direction of my enemy, you bastard are doing the greatest injustice. I want y'all to pay attention. In the colonial countries, on the contrary, the policeman and the soldier, by their immediate presence and their frequent and direct action, maintain contact with the native and advise him by means of rifle butts and napalm not to budge. It is obvious here that the agents of government speak the language of pure force, as in Dominica, as in Haiti, as in Trinidad, as in Jamaica. Understand when they talk that beat and the stick and policeman and soldier them. The language is different. There's not a bunch of systems in play that dazzle the mind. It is brute force, which is why there's a different cloth. There's a very different cloth that builds a liberator from these spaces. It is obvious here that the agents of government speak the language of pure force. The intermediary does not lighten the oppression, nor seek to hide the domination. He shows them up and puts them into practice with the clear conscience of an upholder of the peace, yet he is the bringer of violence into the home and into the mind of the native. Here, who does that here? If that is not the gangbanger, if that is not the drug dealer, if that is not the abusive boyfriend, if that is not the abusive girlfriend, who takes on that role based on the belief in their purpose? So when their purpose is screwed, that is for you to understand that you need to check out and not be a part of it, regardless of where they are, regardless of what relationship you've had in the past, regardless of how much milk titty they allowed you to drink. or ass wiping they did as you were a child, or what they gave you, if you recognize that they are a part of that, you must remove yourself from it or suffer the fate. Self-preservation. The zone where the natives live is not complementary to the zone inhabited by the settlers. The two zones are opposed, but not in the service of a higher unity. Obedient to the rules of pure Aristotelian logic, they both follow the principle of reciprocal exclusivity. No conciliation is possible for the two terms. One is superfluous. The settler's town is a strongly built town, all made of stone and steel. It is a brightly lit town. The streets are covered with asphalt, and the garbage cans swallow all the leavings, unseen, unknown, and hardly thought about. The settlers' feet are never visible, except perhaps in the sea. But there, you're never close enough to see them. His feet are protected by strong shoes, although the streets of his town are clean and even, with no holes or stones. The settler's town is a well-fed town, an easygoing town. Its belly is always full of good things. The settler's town is a town of white people, of foreigners. I'm going to picture the communities in your town. What communities in your town look like that? We're not far removed from this. I want you to understand the paradigm, the dynamics. What streets? Whose bellies are full? Here. Who never speaks of hunger? Here. Whose feet you never see? As we talk of red bottoms and Yeezys and funny boots and shit, whose feet do you never see? The town belonging to the colonized people, or at least the native town, the Negro village, the Medina, the reservation, is a place of ill fame, peopled by men of evil repute. They are born there. It matters little where or how. They die there. It matters not where nor how. It is a world without spaciousness. Men live there on top of each other, and their huts are built one on top of the other. Projects. People live there. People die there. I've had homies go to jail, do 15 years, come back to the project, and die there. I know of very few Europeans that leave their home for 15 or 20 years and come back in the same condition and meet their demise right there. That is not their story. So when you talk about equality, when you speak of that, there is no racial equality. There is no racial equity. The conditions are not bred for it. We do not have the same circumstances. Do not allow people to tell you that. There may be shared symptoms between them when they have not benefited from these systems. But we are not the same. The native town is a hungry town, starved of bread, of meat, of shoes, of coal, of light. The native town is a crouching village, a town on its knees, a town wallowing in the mire. It is a town of niggers and dirty Arabs. Funny how those two are the descriptive terms for the 50s, 60s, 70s Algiers, and it coincides with the very same towns that we have now in 2022 in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Queens, in Newark, in Camden, in DC, niggers and dirty Arabs. The look that the native turns on the settler's town is a look of lust, a look of envy. It expresses his dreams of possession, all manner of possession, to sit at the settler's table, to sleep in the settler's bed, with his wife if possible. The colonized man is an envious man. And this to the settler, and this the settler knows very well. When their glances meet, he ascertains bitterly, always on the defensive. They want to take our place. It is true, for there is no native who does not dream at least once a day of setting himself up in the settler's place. They want to be in the whip. So when I say I have and never had the dream of being in the whip, God damn it, you know I'm built for this shit. I'm not no fake with it. Never lusted for his woman. I keep telling you I don't even want the reparation unless it's coming in blood. But you thought I was bullshitting with that. Thought I was bullshitting with it, didn't you? Now y'all catching up. Hold on. Hold on, because sometimes I'm telling you, people think I be on outspoken or no filter, just talking the talk. Let me repeat it. Because when you see them yearning to get a deal, yearning for the 360, yearning to be in Kim Kardashian, yearning to be telling white folks my dreams. Let me tell you where the mentality comes from. Let me repeat it. The look that the native turns on the settler's town is a look of lust, a look of envy. It expresses his dreams of possession. All manner of possession. To sit at the settler's table, to sleep in the settler's bed with his wife if possible. So if he can't get the settler's wife, he wants his wife to act like the settler's wife and get the blonde streaks and be as loose as the settler's wife. The colonized man is an envious man. And this the settler knows very well. Come on. It is true, for there is no native who does not dream at least once a day of setting himself up in the settler's place. And when we speak on hip hop, the entertainment industry, that is the lowest level of white mentality. It cannot compete with the educational level of the colonizer, of the settler. Cannot compete with other business industries, technology, stocks and as such. It cannot compete with the military apparatus of the colonizer, of the settler. Entertainment industry is the lower level fallacies of white supremacy. So when you see black people yearning to be in that, to that degree, to those levels, how dare you look at them and see greatness? They can't fuck with me. And y'all gonna stop acting like they can. I'm telling you. Telling you. Telling you. I know I'm that shit. Keep acting like I don't and I will disappear. I'm telling you. Boy, oh boy, I see the man I see. I look in souls, I see it. Allowing some weak people control the dynamics that affect the quality of your life. Weak. Dude just tested positive for the cocoa again. Weak. Telling you how great you are. Stop telling me you not. This world divided into compartments. This world cut in two is inhabited by two different species. The originality of the colonial context is that economic reality, inequality, and the immense difference of ways of life never come to mask the human realities. When you examine at close quarters the colonial context, it is evident that what parcels out to the world is to begin with the fact of belonging to or not belonging to a given race, a given species. In the colonies, the economic substructure is also a superstructure. The cause is the consequence. You are rich because you are white. You are white because you are rich. That is why Marxist analysis should always be slightly stretched every time we have to do with the colonial problem. Is it too heavy? Is it too heavy? Let me know. If it's too heavy, we switch books. Is your mind engaged? Are we educating each other? If not, we can switch books. I could go back to that. What, we need another biography? Huh? Do I have to slow down? Is this too much? Is it too much? We could go elsewhere. Y'all want something a little softer? We could go and read Che. What we gonna do here? Is it too heavy? I'm telling you, you're gonna shake your foundation. Let's go. Huh? Come on now. Let's go. Everything up to and including the very nature of pre-capitalist society, so well explained by Marx, must here be thought out again. The serf is in essence different from the knight, but a reference to divine right is necessary to legitimize this statutory difference. In the colonies, the foreigner coming from another country imposed his rule by means of guns and machines. In defiance of his successful transplantation, in spite of his appropriation, the settler still remains a foreigner. It is neither the act of owning factories nor estates nor a bank balance which distinguishes the governing classes. The governing race is first and foremost those who come from elsewhere, those who are unlike the original inhabitants, the others. Now again, who are the colonizers here? So we go into another question. Told you our dynamic and phenomenon is different. Because if we are to believe that we are not indigenous here, then our fight has to be different. Because only ones who can claim this space are those who are indigenous to here, and they are gone. Whoever was here was wiped out. But again, if we go deeper, if we are to believe that we are the universal beings of truth, that means we cannot regulate ourselves to these little pockets of land, this little pocket of earth. If we have a connection to the universe, how dare we simplify our being to this shit here and strive to fight for this here? Then that questions the theory of sovereignty. Because how dare you black melanated folk claim sovereignty to this little planet when there are other greater planets and galaxies and mentalities that you should be connected to? How dare you follow white thought to minimize yourself to that degree? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, got a little bit too deep. Pardon me. I didn't mean to rattle somebody's belief system or purpose. Pardon me. A little bit too deep. Hold up. I didn't mean to do that. Y'all still good? Are you still good? Y'all still want to hear me? Do you still want to hear me? Huh? Oh, shit get deep. Hmm? The violence which has ruled over the ordering of the colonial world, which has ceaselessly drummed the rhythm for the destruction of native social forms and broken up without reserve the systems of reference of the economy, the customs of dress and external life. That same violence will be claimed and taken over by the native at the moment when, deciding to embody history in his own person, he surges into the forbidden quarters. The forbidden quarters, when you snatch your mind back. It's forbidden for you to be a self-thinker. When one rips away all of that, that is the forbidden quarters. Not to be in massa's bed, in massa's mind. The quarters of your own mind. How do you, as I always say, perceive yourself? What is the construct of your mind? How do you view yourself when you look in the mirror? What is your thoughts when you sleep and dream at night? That is the forbidden quarters. Again, deciding to embody history in his own person, he surges into the forbidden quarters. To wreck the colonial world is henceforth a mental picture of action which is very clear, very easy to understand, and which may be assumed by each one of the individuals which constitute the colonized people. To break up the colonial world does not mean that after the frontiers have been abolished, lines of communication will be set up between the two zones. The destruction of the colonial world is no more and no less that the abolition of one zone is burial in the depths of the earth, or its expulsion from the country. Hold up. I think y'all think I'll be playing. Y'all think I'll be playing. Y'all think I'll be playing. Y'all think I'll be playing when I say you're going to love yourself. And love of self has no boundaries. Love is a supreme understanding amongst those who are original, and the manifestation of that is building and destroying. Y'all don't understand. Y'all think I'll be playing. I am second to nobody. I am second to none when it comes to this shit here. I don't play when it comes to the love of my people. Fucking with me, you're going to be a liberator. Trust and believe that. I put no one before you. Oh, yeah. Shit is deep. Oh, shit is deep, shit is deep, shit is deep. The natives, all right? Okay. The natives challenge. The natives challenge to the colonial world is not a national confrontation of points of view. It is not a treatise on the universal, but the untidy affirmation of an original idea propounded as an absolute. The colonial world is a Manichaean world. It is not enough for the settler to delimit physically. That is to say, with the help of the army and the police force, the place of the native, as if to show the totalitarian character of colonial exploitation. The settler paints the native as a sort of quintessence of evil, right? With an asterisk. We have determined the mechanism of this Manichaean world in black skin, white mask. All right? That's when we get into that. And we go even deeper. All right? Native society is not simply described as a society lacking in values, the way they said hip hop was, and eventually became a lack of values, right? Men sharing their women with their homies, encouraging them to pop mollies and blow everybody in the crew. Kids speak of killing each other with automatic weapons, valueless. Grandmothers, 35, 45, 55 years old, with thongs between their ass cheeks, on display in social media, forever imprinted. Right? So they no longer have to say it and wonder. They're showing you, there go the valueless people. Those are the people who don't value themselves because they fuck nigga free. Where is the argument for correction? How do we prove them wrong? Native society is not simply described as a society lacking values. It is not enough for the colonists to affirm that those values have disappeared from, or still better, never existed in the colonial world. The native is declared insensible to ethics. He represents not only the absence of values, but also the negation of values. As Megan says, Plan B. Titles a song, Plan B. Uh-oh. Oh, no, okay. Am I too deep? Too much truth? He is, let us dare to admit, the enemy of values. And in this sense, he is the absolute evil. He is the coercive element destroying all that comes near him. He is the deforming element, disfiguring all that has to do with beauty and morality. He is the depository of maleficent powers, or maleficent, or maleficent powers. The unconscious mind, or the unconscious and irretrievable instrument of blind forces. Monsieur Meyer could thus state seriously in the French National Assembly that the Republic must not be prostituted by allowing the Algerian people to become part of it. Ooh, when you're valueless, they gun you down in the streets of Mississippi, in the streets of Oakland, in the streets of Chicago, St. Louis, Dallas, Florida, VA, Boston. When you are valueless, they can kill you with impunity. Because you representing yourself as such. Man. Listen. All values, in fact, are irrevocably poisoned and diseased as soon as they are allowed in contact with the colonized race. The customs of the colonized people, their traditions, their myths, above all, their myths, are the very sign of that poverty of spirit and of their constitutional depravity. That is why we must put the DDT which destroys parasites, the bearers of disease, on the same level as the Christian religion, which wages war on embryonic heresies and instincts and on evil as yet unborn. The recession of yellow fever and the advance of evangelicalization, right, from part of the same balance sheet, form part of the same balance sheet. But the triumphant communiques, right, form the missions, but the triumphant communiques from the missions are in fact a source of information concerning the implantation of foreign influences in the core of the colonized people. I speak of the Christian religion, and no one need be astonished. The church in the colonies is the white people's church, the foreigner's church. She does not call the native to God's ways, but to the ways of the white man, of the master, of the oppressor. And as we know, in this matter, many are called, but few chosen. Nah, man. Nah. That's enough for tonight. That's enough for tonight. That's enough for Saturday night book club. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want to hurt nobody's heart. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want to hurt nobody's heart. We got to stop book club tonight. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hold up. Woo-wee. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. We building soldiers. We building soldiers. If you not, listen, you don't say you want it. Don't say you want it, because you're going to get it. I'm telling you, I'm not playing. I'm telling you, you want me, you going to get it. I'm telling you. Nah. Listen. Love my moderators. Again, don't believe in me. Believe in my belief in you. Believe in my belief in you. And, you know, we will continue. All right? We will continue next week on Saturday Night Book Club. You dig? Any cash apps that was received in order to further assist others with anger management sessions, with domestic violence or intimate partner relationship violence sessions has been appreciated. Coaching, life coaching, parenting skills definitely has been appreciated. My moderators, my tribe, you definitely know how I feel about you. We may come back with Thug Love Superman, but we gonna put Saturday Night Book Club down. We got to. We have to. We have to. I don't want. Listen. I told you this. We usually don't get here until about the ninth or 10th book. All right. So, listen. Let me do this. Let us do this together and at a decent pace. Cause I'm telling you, I don't want to run nobody away. All right. Oh my goodness. Thank you, K. Cool. Again, listen. Watch for notification. We might be back, but let me do what I gotta do, baby. Alright, love you all. Share. 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 Peace.